question is, what is the World Affairs Council role in Orange County?
My name is Timo Rafik. I'm the chairman of the World Affairs Council of Orange County. The World Affairs Council is a non-profit organization. Our motto is that we bring Orange County to the world and the world to Orange County. We basically have speakers from around the world and from the administration, from the military, speak on topics of world affairs and important issues. And we're delighted tonight to have Ambassador John Negroponte, who is a career diplomat, who could talk to us about what is going on in the world. We've seen drastic changes in the last few weeks all around the world, and what are the implications of this for our national security and for our quality of life. So we're looking forward to a very good night.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please tell us a little about your topic that you're going to be talking here tonight.
Well, I'm going to be talking about America's foreign policy and our place in the world today and some of the issues that confront our diplomacy. But basically, my view is that the United States still has a very important role to play in the world, and that we've got many challenges out there, but we also have many opportunities, particularly in this on the Pacific side of the world, in the East Asia Pacific region is an area of great promise, both economically and politically and commercially. So that among other things, is what I'm going to talk about this evening.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Timo Rafik. I'm the chairman of the World Affairs Council of Orange County. I would like to start off with the national honors of our program. Let me first introduce First Sergeant Stephen Lyon, United States Marine Corps, retired. Troy's Navy Junior ROTC program, which is the largest and best Navy program in California, will do the presentation. Please rise and remove your caps for the presentation of our national colors by Troy Navy Junior ROTC Color Guard.
Collegiate hope, Horteg, have, haste, peace, haste, colors, heady, kite.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Horteg, colors, heady, kite, right, haste, port, hands, away, head.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our main event of the year. It's our 2011 Gala. We are delighted to have among us special guests and dignitaries that I'd like to introduce, and I'll just go through the names. Ambassador John Negroponte, Ambassador George Argyris, Ambassador Gadi Vasquez, Consul Alejandro Garcia Williams, Chancellor Gary Brown of Brandman University, Orange County Supervisor John Morlaw, Deputy Consul of Mexico Francisco Anza, the Honorable Chuck DeVore, Councilman Stephen Choi, and Sir Eldon Griffith. Please join me in welcoming them. I would also like to recognize our corporate sponsors, the Allergan Foundation, Bradman University, Chapman University, Disneyland Resorts, Oracle Block Products, Quick Leos Associates, and Tomasian Throckmorton and NOA LLP. Thank you for your contributions.
On behalf of the World Affairs Council of Orange County, it is my privilege to introduce this very special guest that we have with us, Ambassador John Negroponte. It's wonderful that he's here in California to appreciate the great kind of weather. Would you agree? But John has been the ambassador to Honduras, Mexico, the Philippines, the United Nations, and Iraq. In Washington, he has served twice as the National Security Council staff, first as director for the Vietnam in the Nixon administration, and then as Deputy National Advisor under President Reagan. He has also held a cabinet-level position as the first director of the National Intelligence under President George W. Bush. While in the private sector from 1997 to 2001, he was Executive Vice President of the McGraw-Hill Companies and Chairman of the French-American Foundation. Since January 21st, 2009, Ambassador Negroponte has assumed the position of Vice Chairman of McClarty Associates. Let's see, that's not a Republican group, is it? I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. No. But it is, and seriously, they're a good group and a leading international strategic advisory firm in Washington, D.C. While in the private sector from 1997 to 2001, he was Executive Vice President of the McGraw-Hill Companies and Chairman of the French-American Foundation. He also holds part-time position at his alma mater, Yale University, as a Senior Research Fellow in the Great Strategy and the Grand Strategy, and as a lecturer in International Relations. Ambassador Negroponte has received numerous awards in recognition of his more than 4 decades. John, that's nothing, right? Of public service, including State Department Distinguished Service Medal, the highest award which one can be conferred upon by the Secretary of State. On January 16th of 2009, President Bush awarded Ambassador Negroponte the National Security Medal for his outstanding contributions to his U.S. national security. He is a man who has given and given much to our country. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to welcome Ambassador John Negroponte.
George, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. And one fine point that George didn't make is that we actually coincided at one point in our diplomatic career when he was the United States ambassador to Spain and I was the United States ambassador to Mexico. So, Mr. Ambassador, it's a pleasure to see you again, and I thank you for your kind introduction. I also, since we also have another diplomatic colleague here, Gaddy Vasquez, served as our ambassador to the United Nations organizations in Rome during the last administration, and I'm delighted to see him here as well. This is the second time I've spoken before the council here in Orange County. But perhaps the most memorable visit I made here in my lifetime was when I was the Deputy National Security Advisor under Ronald Reagan. And he, as you all recall, used to vacation in Santa Barbara, and it was kind of nice duty. He always insisted that either the National Security Advisor or the Deputy National Security Advisor be in the vicinity in case of need. So we hung out at the Biltmore Hotel up there in Santa Barbara, and had a pretty good time while he was up at his ranch. It wasn't always a bed of roses, believe me. But I do remember when he ended one of those vacations, it was in the summer of '88. He swung through Orange County. I think we went to Irvine on a fundraiser. And of course, presidential staff doesn't figure prominently in a political fundraising event. We were actually in the back corner somewhere. We had a table, a whole bunch of us, but the real reward for us was that we had Mickey Rooney at our table. I'll never forget it. And my children wouldn't believe it when they were watching, what was the name of that movie? The National Velvet with Elizabeth Taylor, and I trotted out this photograph of all of us at a table with Mickey Rooney in Orange County. They just blew their minds. So I thought the title of my talk on the front of your program tonight is a little bit forbidding and a little bit sweeping. So what I thought I might try to do is narrow it down and focus on one part of the world today. But I'd be more than happy in the question and answer period to cover any issue you wish, whether it's in the area of diplomacy or foreign policy or national security, and I'm certainly happy to talk about the events in the Middle East. But I thought, given the location of this event tonight, that it might be interesting to talk a little bit about the United States policy towards Asia. And also, another reason for doing that, it's not only because we're here on the Pacific Coast and we look out towards Asia, but also because sometimes the urgent issues tends to crowd out the important ones. And clearly, one of the really important issues in America's foreign policy, and in fact, one of the important geopolitical phenomena of our time, is the fact that the two largest rising powers in the world are located in Asia, the countries of China and India. And from the perspective of somebody who joined the Foreign Service as a career diplomat in 1960, and for whom my first post was to serve as a vice consul in our consulate general in Hong Kong from 1961 to 63. The transformation that has occurred in that part of the world compared then to now is just nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, China was a weak country for 150 years, racked by colonial exploitation, opium wars, its own internal revolution, successive revolutions. And it really wasn't until the 1970s that it started to come into its own. So when I was in Hong Kong in 1961, there was what we call the bamboo curtain. You couldn't get to China. You couldn't travel there. The only people who went back and forth between Hong Kong and China were like household help or housekeepers who would go back during Chinese New Year's to visit their relatives in Guangdong province or something like that. They were just coming out of a famine when I was in Hong Kong. Then I had 4 years, 64 to 68, in Vietnam, and there was another experience. And then I was in the peace talks in Paris from 1968 to 69 on Paris peace talks on Vietnam. And then, because I become such a Vietnam expert, this is what happens to you in government. If you become sufficiently expert on something, they just don't let you get away from it. So then Dr. Kissinger was looking for a Vietnam expert, and I ended up working with him for 3 years until we finished the negotiation that ultimately resulted in our withdrawal from South Vietnam.
You're watching the Orange County Crosstalk Show with Alex